Hello,
There he is. Oh my God, look at you.
it's me.
Oh my God. You look good.
You look good. You're talking about me. You look good.
Uh, I'm all right.
No, you're not just all right. You look fantastic.
Hello and welcome to Changed for the Better, the Power of Arts Education. I'm Stacey Tiro, a high school performing arts teacher for over 25 years. I've taught a lot of amazing people. Now that so many of my students are adults, they'll teach me how, through the lessons in my classroom, they have been changed for the better. So today we are doing episode 15. We are on episode 15 already. I can't believe it. And my guest here is another graduate from that infamous class of 2015. There were a lot of them and there will be others in the future. So stay tuned for that. This young man here who just had a birthday and turned 25.
Yes. I know.
He came to Spring Valley as a sophomore. He was like the new kid from out of town, coming into this class that was so, cohesive and, just knew each other from way back when. And he was looking for a place to belong. I remember when he first came into the studio and he was like, just kind of like, I don't know what to make of any of this. So I didn't really know what his interests were. I learned quickly, but it took a little, there's like a little, warming up for this young man to come in. So lucky for me, he was of the theater ilk. he was from the theater people. And he quickly found his place in the dance studio and on stage with Thespians. And it didn't take too long for him to finally get comfortable because he would start taking my dance classes and he right away started auditioning for our shows. And of course, his first foray on the stage was for The Wiz. And he played our Scarecrow, which I hadn't remembered originally. And then he reminded me, I was like, oh yeah, duh, of course. And then he went on to those powerhouse productions of In the Heights, where he played Sonny, and West Side Story, where he played Baby John. In fact, in West Side, in the Heights, we were nominated for like a gazillion Metro Awards, which was like a regional Tony Award kind of thing. And we actually got to perform our like one of our best songs, 96,000. And he was, playing Sonny. He just like blew everybody away. It was like this really magical moment that we all got to share together. So he graduated from high school in 2015. And of course, he was so taken with the theater that he decided to pursue his Bachelor of Arts in musical theater with a concentration in dance at Seton Hill University, graduated in 2019. And of course, one of the running themes on this podcast is the idea of switching gears, of, making plans and then changing plans. So then I had gotten word a couple years ago that he actually pursued his master's degree at the Pratt Institute. As a Master of Library and Information Science with a concentration in archives. And I believe he just finished his degree. But of course, once a theater kid, always a theater kid. And right now he's working as a librarian for the New York Film Academy. And his ultimate goal is to work in archives and libraries that collect, preserve, and create materials that support the arts and Black excellence as well. So we're going to move right into question number one, because it sort of dovetails this whole introduction. So please, if you will, tell us your name. We know you graduated in 2015, and tell me what you're doing right now.
Well, I am Victor. Official name is Victorious Collymore-Bey, but Miss Hero, and all of my close friends call me Victor, so everyone can call me Victor. Currently, I am in this big transition period. I just turned 25. I just graduated with my master's of library science, and I have so much time on my hands that I kind of just don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to do with it. Right now, I'm only working in a very limited capacity, 4 hours a day, just getting a little bit of experience in the library world. But I am trying to get back into my acting. Now that school is over and I have a degree and I have the knowledge that I need. I am taking dance classes again, looking towards singing lessons and acting lessons, and just trying to combine my love of libraries and the books and reading and helping people and things like that with my passion for the arts and being on the stage and performing and supporting that side of me, because I realized that in life there's duality, and I can be a dual person. I can have my foot in the library world and be a librarian and be an archivist and still perform at a show 5-6 times a week. So right now I'm just trying to figure out where this life is going to take me in this journey, since I really do have just so much time in my hands and all the things that I've been working to complete are complete now. So I'm taking my skills and seeing just welcoming anything and all energies into my life and making sure that I'm prepared for this next chapter in my life and going forward.
That's fantastic. That's another thing that we talk about a lot on the podcast is the idea of, we are more than one thing. We might have a job here, but that one thing doesn't define our whole sense of who we are. So I like the idea that a lot of people, including yourself, are sharing the idea that well, I'm this and I'm this too, and I'm a little bit of this, and we're made whole by the sum of our parts. So hopefully you'll be able to get yourself back into that theater world and do that thing that you love alongside the other thing that you love. I think that's great when you have that much passion for a couple of different things. That's amazing. Now that you are officially considered an adult,
right? Scary to think about.
The first quarter century is done. Using your adult brain, describe your adolescent self.
Adolescent Victor was very insecure with himself. Coming out was a big thing. Saying to people, I am a proud gay, I'm a proud gay man now, but that wasn't always the case. When I was in high school, I was very much in the closet, very much shy and just unsure about who Victor is supposed to be and who Victor is supposed to be and who Victor actually is. High school was a lot of me not speaking up for myself, me being the emotional support blanket or the emotional blanket for this friend group and these family members. And, I had that middle child syndrome, you really have to be in the middle of everything. You can't really say, oh, I don't want to do this because people expect you to do this, or I don't want to do that because, that's a pattern that you have always had, And I feel as though adolescent Victor didn't have a lot of individual style. I was coming from, a foster care situation where I took what I was given and the resources that I was giving, I was so lucky to have. So adolescent Victor just was trying to find his place in the world. If the world's a big puzzle piece, he was always missing one part from the end corner, one part from the middle, one part from the side piece over there. So he was just trying to fill in those gaps and figure out here I am as 14, 15, 16, 13 years old man.
Mm-hmm.
Who actually am I? And who am I? Who do I want to be? And what can I do to be this is me, this is the product that I am passionate about, this is the thing that I'm passionate about, and how can I live authentically, what I was really searching for is how can I live as myself without being ashamed of being a gay man, or without having all these opinions of people I did not care about, of people who had no impact on my life, but still their words were still hurting me. So I was really trying to just build my confidence and figure out, like, where do I belong? Who do I belong with? Where are my friends? Who am I as a person? And what makes Victor Victor? And how do I live that truth as authentically and as truthful as I can?
I did see that sort of struggle, and you had talked to me really early on, about, what your situation was and where you were coming from, and you always had this real sense of positivity and hope, like this, like, so sort of this eternal optimism, which I think that is, a significant part of just who you are as a person. But I did see, there was that struggle, and there's, when you see the kid kind of like observing and looking at everything and saying, is it okay for me to like push myself out there? Do I need to hold back? There was a lot of that sort of evaluation. Thank God you were a like really personal kind of kid. You made friends pretty easily. This like really cohesive group, you sort of like fit into pretty quickly. It really didn't take you very long. It was like one show when it was all done.
Literally, yes, yes.
That's what it seemed like. So, working in the studio and working in the theater, what was something or things that happened that helped you to manage or like regulate that adolescent unsureness?
One day in the Wiz audition, like maybe that's the first or second day, we were having like dance auditions, and I was like so unsure of myself because my dancing has always been lacking. Like singing and acting, I've always been like so like gung ho about, but my dancing, I've always been like just a type person in general in terms of joints and stuff. So my dancing, I've always been insecure about, and just like not the most confident.
Mm.
And I remember right after you taught us a combination to, I think it was he's on down the road. I think it was that one. So I think like right after that, you like had stopped the music, and I will never forget this. Like you stopped the music, and you were like, I just have to say like one thing: Victor Collymore-Bey has the moves. And like I remember that like verbatim. And I just remember like everyone in like the dance room just like clapping and like cheering me on. And I was just like, that just like feels so great because I never had that before. Like in my mind, you are your worst critic. So in my mind, I'm like, oh, but you're not doing well. Like these people hate you. You're just like an outsider, like X, Y, and Z. And then it's to see people that I didn't know because I was coming in, one semester, to see people that I didn't know, didn't have a working relationship with, and then to hear you say that to me was just kind of like, okay, like I'm going to be good here. Like this is a place that I can express myself, and I won't have to feel like I am being judged about it, and I won't have to feel that I am changing my personality or changing my words or the way I speak or the way I act or the way I dress or so many other things that I did in my daily lives outside of that dance studio, outside of that studio in general, just to blend in or just not have people make those remarks about me or think one way about me. And all of that always fell away whenever I walked into that studio space. It was like I'm with my friends, I'm with people who are working towards this one goal. And I had an amazing educator who always supported me in any role and anything that I did. And, there were also times where you were very tough on us. You would be like, this is unacceptable. You cannot have this. This will not work in the real world. This will not fly in a professional theater space. All the stuff that you guys need to be on point. And that tough love was also very needed because when I got to college, there were people who like call times were not a thing for them, like audition and, having their lines done by they were still on tech week, they were still thinking about their lines and they were a main role. They were a main cast member, they had an entire song and the scene before their song, they didn't know the words to, so having that like strict, like that, tough love was also very needed for me because I can be a little bit I'm a procrastinator at heart. People know this. Like I procrastinate to the last second, and I still leave enough time for me to get it done, but I procrastinate for the last second. And I feel as though in the studio, like, yes, it was a place where I felt like I belonged, and it was a place where I felt like I didn't have to change who I was, but also it was a place that really was the foundation for my time management skills, for my interpersonal skills, for, Victor, you're in the show now. Like, you have to make sure that X, Y, and Z is done before you even walk into that theater or before you even work into that rehearsal space. So just like building my confidence in there. And like I said, it really goes back to that first time where you stopped the music after the dance tryouts and you were just like, Victor Collymore-Bey hasn't moved. And from there, I was just like, yeah, this is someplace I want to be. This is someplace I know I can learn and I can grow and I can be myself.
Oh, God, this whole like effort, there's multiple sort of facets as to why I'm doing it. And, hearing that feedback is very validating. Because when you're a teacher, you hope and pray that like you are giving kids something that can be lasting, that they can hold on to and let that kind of inform the rest of their lives. That's the goal, right? That's the ultimate teacher goal. So to hear that, there were very specific things and specific memories that stuck with you. That's, it's kind of everything to a teacher. So thanks for that. So
Welcome.
what were some of the other lessons, like the time management and the responsibility and the stop procrastinating, kind of
Right,
thing.
right.
What were some other things that you learned then that like you still use today?
That is a very good question because there's so many things. I really feel like my theater career didn't take off until I was stepping into that room. So there's like so many things that like I can say about that, just like that room in general, because when you walk into it, it was just like an entire atmosphere that was just like a blanket. It's so comforting. One of the biggest things that I took out of there, and this can be like translated a whole bunch of different ways, but to not let like myself succumb to the thoughts in my head, and not let myself psych myself out before I've even done it, or psych myself out before I've even attempted to do it. Like you were always very trusting of us to, give you choreography or change the direction of a scene that made us feel better, you feel better, and made it work for the character. So having an adult in this very adult position, and as a teenager being 16 years old, where most adults do not listen to you or take your criticism or take your feedback, they kind of just like, yeah, well, you're a teenager, like you don't really know, like you don't really have that experience to kind of actually do that and like say this on that. I'm gonna just keep doing what I think is best. Like we didn't do that. It was always a very collaborative process. One thing that you always did is you communicated, and one of my founding principles is anything I do, communication is key. And that really started in your class, because if you had a problem, talk to me. What's going on? You would say that to us. If we didn't know how to do something, or we wanted to learn more, or we wanted to go back and rehearse one specific movement 15 times, you would give us the time to do that. And you would give us the time to talk it out, to allow us to express ourselves in the character, in whatever we were doing. And I will always remember the time when we were in a rehearsal, and it was like us and like the main group, like Dwayne, Dion, Kinsley, like all of us, we were like over to the side and weren't really doing anything. And we were like having our little like rap circle type of things that we would usually have. And that you never told us to like stop. There's a rehearsal going on here. You would be like, hey, it's getting too loud. I don't mind you guys doing this, but we also have this rehearsal. You basically, you talk to us like people. You didn't talk to us like children. You talk to us like people. And I appreciate that. And I carry that through everything that I have. And I feel like that also formulates my entire thing of like, when I see a person, I never judge them by their cover. I never judge them with, these preconceived notions of, oh, you're from Italy. Like, do you like Italian food? Like, do you like pasta? Like stuff like that just never crosses my mind. It's always, oh my gosh, like, how are you? It's great meeting you for the first time. Tell me about you. It might not be completely, related to the fact that you talk to us like regular people, but the fact that I got that exposure to talk to an adult who's in this, you know, grown-up position, the supervisory position, but I felt as though I could still be like so cool with and so honest and transparent with, that really carried on throughout high school, throughout college, throughout graduate school, throughout life in general. Because I feel as though like every person I talk to, whether you are 5 years old, 95 years old, 25 years old, coming from a different country, coming from a different state or whatever, or different economical background or whatever, I talk to you like a person. Mm-hmm. And that was really informative in that studio space, because you always talk to us like a person. You always, you know, talk to us like we knew what we were doing. And if we didn't, you would always say to us, please just talk to me. How can we get past this so we can make your performance better and we can ultimately make your life richer?
Yeah, you know, having worked with adolescents for as long as I have, you're a perfect example because, you know, when you walked in with all of the stuff, you know, that you were carrying, you know, being a Black gay man, having gone through the foster system, changing schools, trying to insert yourself, like not knowing all of, so that's like the stuff that you carry on your back. You know, a kid walks in and they're like a blank slate. Like I have no idea. I didn't know if like you were going to like walk away and I never see you again, or whether you would, you know, go the route that you did. I guess one of the things that I've learned is always give the kid a chance to walk out the door, and hopefully they'll come back to you. And really the only way that that's going to happen is if you make them feel like they're a valid person. I always feel that adolescents actually know way more than we give them credit for in terms of life. Like they're living their life, they're living their truth, even if they're not expressing it all the way. And there's value to that. And there are things that they see that we don't see. We don't have that perspective. So I think it is very important to make them understand that they are contributors and that they are, you know, they can be an important part of the creative process, that they should be, they have to be. I don't really give them a choice anymore. Okay. We know where you came from, and you know, where you're kind of going now. How do you think you've changed since you graduated?
I'm definitely a lot more confident in myself and just in who I am as a person. That's like the first and foremost thing that that has changed just in general. And since graduating, I feel that I am more level-headed. I am a ticking time bomb at times, and I talk a lot. So I feel like I am like just like a bit more level-headed, and I know how to kind of combat my explosiveness with my like quieter side of myself and kind of have it work for me. I speak to mine a lot more. I really do. There's a lot that I don't say, not because I don't want to say it, but because like I just feel like I don't have, like I can't say it. And one of the things that when thinking back to when this first started is when we had the metros for in the Heights. Mm-hmm. That was my sister and brother's graduation day, and I remember being so torn. Like, I really want to go to the graduation, but like I love this role. I really want to do this role. Like, the theater is such like a huge part of me. And I remember my mother and my father saying, well, you cannot go to the metros, and you know, you have to be there for your brother and sister. Like, you know, such a big accomplishment, X, Y, and Z. And I remember just like saying, yeah, like I can't go. I remember coming in and saying, yeah, I can't go to metros. Like, Dion was supposed to fill in for me as Sunny, and he had did those rehearsals. Right. And then I just remember, like, at the last second, I talked to Kayla, because she's my bestie, and was just like, no, my sister and my brother will understand. This is a once in a lifetime thing that I'm going to do, because I'll never know if I get the opportunity to do this. And we'll have a graduation party for them. I will celebrate them. It's not like I don't feel bad for not being there, but I have to do with what I want to do. I cannot live my life for other people. I have to live for myself. And I think finding that in that moment, and then, you know, carrying that to college, and even now through, you know, postgraduate and post everything, like finding that so early on in life, and finding that after I graduated high school, where in high school I was always being told what to do and how to do it, was so empowering, and so empowering, because it's like you see so many things from the news media outlets and from social media and from all these different places to, this is how you're supposed to act, this is what you're supposed to be wearing, this is your fashion trend, this is X, Y, and Z. And having that independence and gaining that voice, however small, just kind of, it was like a waterfall effect. It started there and it's kind of waterfall. So I feel since my time in the studio, I'm more sure of myself. I speak up for myself in any occasion, and I'm not afraid of conflict. Like if I don't like something, you're gonna know. You're just gonna know. Like that would never have been the case before, but now if I don't like something, you're going to know. Just creating that level of voice and independence, I feel like I didn't get that in high school, and like I'm in my own apartment right now in New York City in Harlem. Like that's something that's something crazy. And those were like that instance, and every instance after that just kind of build up to me finding my voice and gaining my independence.
Oh, I love that you're living in your own place in Harlem.
Yes, I do have a roommate. But she's
Okay.
like amazing. She's great. Just one roommate. She's so amazing. Her name is Sarah. She's also like a musical theater alum from Seton Hill. So we're kind of connected that way. So, but it is crazy. Like I never thought my life would be like this. So
Isn't it nice when you can look at your life as young as you are and go, yes, this is the direction I want to go. This is where I want to
yes,
be. Yeah.
it's amazing. It's absolutely amazing.
So, what would this version of Victor, this adult version, tell young Victor, adolescent Victor, to help ease the way?
Don't listen to the people around you. Listen to your gut.
Mm.
If something doesn't feel right, or you don't want to do something, or there's just like something just like off in your gut, just listen to it, because 9 times out of 10 your gut is right. 9 times out of 10, even if your gut is not right, it might not be right for the moment, but it's right for you, because your gut is never going to put you in something, or is going to clue you in on the things that you're uncomfortable with. It's going to clue you in on the things that, oh well, I don't really trust this person. Well, why don't I trust it? I don't know, it's just a feeling. 5 months later, well, my gut was right because XYZ, So just trust your gut first and foremost. And two, like, cherish your time in high school. Like, I know that sounds weird, and I know that sounds crazy, because everyone's always like, get out of high school, like, high school is XYZ. But I was coming from academic history where in freshman year of high school, I called out of class every single day. Like I would literally fake my foster mom's voice on the phone and be like, hi, like Victor Collymore-Bey is not in school. Theoretically speaking, for legal purposes, just enjoy your time in high school, because that time, you're never going to be that young again. You're never going to have that much fun. And I was very fortunate where Spring Valley High School, I didn't have to choose to be a part of a clique. I didn't have to choose to be a part of anything that I didn't want to be a part of, because I was cool with everybody and everybody was cool with me. And I, went through life, like you said, with this positivity and light. And I felt like a lot of people saw it in me. And so I could just like maneuver into different social settings. And I didn't have any drama in high school. There was like no major fights with me. There was like, you never really heard my name like come up in like any disciplinary actions, except for like one or two where teachers and I would butt heads on some type of things. But that's to be expected.
That's part of it.
So just like enjoy high school and enjoy like not having to pay any bills and not having to worry about your future and the rest of your life. And if XYZ is too fat, or if you're too skinny, or this, that, and the third, like just enjoy your time in high school as a teenager, as a kid, because you'll never be that young again.
I can't tell you how many kids I've had to say, stop, slow down. You're going to be out of here soon enough. Trust me on that. And when you do, you're going to look back on this and go, oh, why didn't I? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? I'm like,
Yes.
just find ways to enjoy where you are right now. Live in the moment. So we are now moving on to question 7. After all of that reflection, tell me something that you are grappling with now. What's your challenge?
Love.
Mm.
I have my career. You know, I make enough money to support myself. I have everything, you know, my ducks in a row, like my baggage is very much packed away, and I am very much at peace with my entire past.
Mm.
I am just looking for someone to share my life with. Like that's what I'm really grappling with. If there's anything that I'm grappling with, it's that. Like I'm a hopeless romantic. I'm such a hopeless romantic. Like flowers, chocolate, long walks on the beach, in the park, like gazing at the stars while we're just talking.
Mhm.
That's just like my favorite. Like I grew up on love movies. I grew up with like, you know, love in my mind that I'm gonna find the person that I love,
Mhm.
marry them, and have this beautiful life together. And nowadays with people my age and so many different dating apps and hookup culture being so prevalent, especially within the gay community, it's like no one wants to get time to know each other. No one wants to, you know, go on a second and third day without, you know, having intercourse or without having to hook up and things like that.
Mhm.
And it's very disheartening because I think that romance is dead, that people don't like to do romance anymore. And when I meet people, it's always I want you for your body, or because I think you're very attractive. And it's not like I want to get to know you. Like where did you come from? What is your family like? Do you have siblings? Like what are your interests? Where do you work at? Like, you know, what do you see in your future? Like what are some quirky things or some nerdy things that you do, or some things that you haven't told a person because you're scared how they might treat you or how they might judge you. And I have so much love in my heart that I share with my family and I share with my friends. And I have an immeasurable amount of love in the romantic way for that person who's looking to receive it.
Mhm.
And it's not like that I need a boyfriend or I need a husband or I need this partner, but I get into my bed at night and I think about the things that I've done. And I always think to myself, it would have been nice to have someone to recount the day to,
Mhm.
or it would be nice to have someone to tell my accomplishments to and know that they're always in my corner and rooting for me, you know, in that romantic way. Because I have those people, but love right now, it's a very trying time for me in this life because I feel like I'm ready to settle down and I'm ready to build a life with somebody, and I haven't found that yet. And I found potentials, and I found, you know, I found people who I've dated for a couple of weeks and a couple of months, and they've been super, super nice, and the vibe has just been off. But I'm really battling with love, both in the romantic kind, but also in the familiar kind. Like this year, and this was past year, ever since the pandemic started, and I've had to be in such close quarters with my family for the first year and a half before I moved out. It wasn't bad, but it was just like, okay, like you guys don't understand like how individual or how independent I want to be, and I am in general, just like how I am as a person. And I am starting to realize that, you know, I can love my family, but I also do not want to be around them at times. And that doesn't diminish my love. It doesn't
No,
diminish my love, and it
it does
doesn't
not.
take away any how powerful I feel for them, because that's my family. I will always be there for them. But if I don't visit in 2 years, I shouldn't feel bad about that because I'm living my life. Or, you know, if I don't do XYZ because I don't want to, and even though my mom or my dad or my brothers are asking me to do this and they really think it's important and I don't physically want to do because I don't feel comfortable, I shouldn't be upset at myself
Mhm.
because, you know, I feel as though this is like a family obligation that I'm supposed to be doing. It's something I have been clawing my way through to the top to get to like really achieve that.
It's a hard thing to like come to terms with, where, you know, listen, I'm a parent of two like older teenage people. One is getting ready to, like, she's transferring from a community college to a go away college, and the other one is like, you know, a year behind
Mm-hmm.
that. And, you know, you as a parent, our whole existence has been about like this family unit. And in a couple of years, they're not going to be around as much. And so as a parent, it's hard to come to terms with. The same way when I was, growing up
Right.
and moving out of my parents' house, and, getting engaged, getting married, becoming my own person, these are sort of natural transitions that we all go through. And, sometimes we're on both ends of that. And it doesn't make it any less challenging, less difficult, but it's normal, it's natural. And those are the growing pains that we all have to endure as we're growing into our adulthood. So it's not surprising. And by the way, anybody out there who might be listening, this is a great catch. And if you're looking to like love a really amazing person, incredible person, reach out to me and I will hook you up.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that. Now, this is not like my, eHarmony dating profile.
That's right.
I'm, as Kira said, I am a great catch. I should try and put that out there. But it's also like with the whole like parenting, my mom and dad are also older, and I want them to enjoy their lives, and I want them to like not worry about me as well. Mm-hmm. So it's like, I'm not just doing this for myself. I'm doing this so you guys can know that like, wherever I am, you guys don't have to worry about me. Like, you can be in Aruba for 4 months and come back and know that Victor's okay, know that he's doing what he's supposed to do. So it's not just for me, and I know it's not like my growing pains myself, and I know that like my parents are also seeing me grow and mature and flourish into this young adult, this young man, and that also is hard for them. But I hope that they know, and I hope that they understand that like I'm doing this not just for my sake, so that they can go out into the world and live the life that they might have had to sacrifice to raise me and my siblings.
Right. Well, I think you're doing just fine, my friend.
Thank you.
So tell me, this is a 2-part question. Okay. So I want you to tell me one thing that you miss about your high school self, and one thing that's gotten better since you've transitioned into your adulthood.
This is also a really good question. And I think one thing that I missed about my high school stuff is exploring the different like sides of myself, I guess you can say. Like, I know I keep saying this, like I really am unsure about myself and like I really need to explore, but like high school was a very enlightening period for me. And I divvied with a lot of things. I did track, I did shows both in high school and outside of high school. I worked as a library volunteer. I did, independent study with you, Miss Bond, and things like that. So I think like the first of high schools I missed, like going to my first dance, going to, having my first kiss, like all those like experiences that are just like so fresh and so new and so raw for a high school student to enjoy and to experience. Like, that's what I miss the most about it, is just getting to have these firsts in life. And I'm still having firsts in life, my first car I had in college, my first things like that, but it'll never be as sweet and as great as like walking to the studio for the first time and being on stage for the first time at Spring Valley High School, or like, going to my first 316 at Emily Dowd's, Emily's place. Shout out to Emily's episode as well. You can watch that. It was great.
Episode 2.
Like episode 2, right? It was great. You should watch it. Everyone should watch it. Everyone should watch this entire series because every episode has been amazing. And just like getting those first and like having those like, like first romance and first, just like the first of high school, which is like, it seems like the world to you in high school because that is your world. And I was like, I guess the main thing that I miss is having like a smaller world view, and having like a smaller world view and not really knowing like what's going on in the Middle East or having to worry about politics and having to worry about that, just having a smaller world view and enjoying and exploring the things and figuring out like what I like, what I don't like, just having like this smaller world view that is so unique to Spring Valley High School and unique to like the surrounding area that I was in. So that's like one thing I miss, just having that.
It's a couple things that you miss, actually.
Couple things that I miss, right? Okay. Couple things that I miss.
Okay.
And then
What's gotten better since you grew up?
since I grew up, definitely, this is gonna sound so, this is like probably not the answer you think, but my acne has like gotten so much better, and like my diet has gotten so much better. Like,
I hope so. God, I hope so.
like my diet has gotten so much better. I ate pretty nicely in high school, and my acne was just like horrible. My acne was horrible in high school, and everyone listening to this or watching this are probably going to be like, well, like everyone's, high school acne is bad. And everyone in high school, like I had advanced acne. Like it was bad. It was very, very bad. And that's definitely gotten better over time. Just like, seeing just like my skin and getting a skincare routine and things like that. But most importantly, the things that's gotten better is my friendships. My friendships have flourished and have become such an integral part of who I am. And 95% of those friendships started in your studio. Like I'm still friends with Kayla and Dwayne and Dion and Sophia and, Tamaya, and just like so many different people I'm still friends with. And that sense of camaraderie whenever I talk to someone who I did a show with in 2012 that I haven't talked to in 5 years. I can talk to them and it's like we are starting a conversation that we left off last night or the night, the other day. So just like that has really flourished, and getting to see Manny, who's also in the first episode, getting to see Manny flourish with like his art and moving to Washington Heights and seeing him, grow his hair out, gain this beard, seeing him in a whole different light, and getting to see Dwayne go through medical school, and getting to see Dion with his art and his music, and seeing Kayla and Gabby, just like, and Emily, and just like everybody, like the friendships that were cultivated and that were started in your studios have proven to be lifelong friendships and have proven to just get better as time goes on. Like we do summer houses together where we don't see each other for 6 months, but hey, everyone's free in September or August. Like, let's make this a week or a weekend to just connect and reconnect and tell everybody what's up. Or, just like I don't see Kinsley all the often because he lives, 3-4 hours away.
Yep.
He was at my birthday party on Saturday, and I didn't even know he was coming. And he was like, yeah, I couldn't miss your birthday party, man. Like, you're one of my best friends. Like, I can't do that. Like, that stuff was started in your studios. And it's just so, it speaks to both you as an educator and you as a educator, as a person, as a teacher, as a woman, as everything, to see how strong these bonds are that you were the common denominator for, that you were the common denominator for, and that probably would not have never existed if it wasn't for you, guiding us and creating this space for us to be authentic, and to know that this is who Manny is. And Manny has always known me as, this flamboyant man who came out to him, as a gay man later on. And he was just like, yo, bro, like, that doesn't, I don't care about that. Like, you've always just been Victor to me. You haven't been Victor the gay man, you've been Victor the person, And so having, like, my friendships have just flourished so much since high school. And that really has been that started in your studios. And it started with the first day I walked into the first day I walked into rehearsal for The Wiz as a scarecrow, and really started that journey and that process. So that has definitely gotten better as time goes on and since high school.
I love that. I love every word of that. That's great. Thank you for that. Okay.
You deserve it.
All right. So now it's time for you to wax poetic, wax wise. If you could give a piece, or maybe a couple pieces, of sage advice to high school students now, what would that be?
Listen to your gut. One, listen to your gut. It's always going to tell you the things that you're not listening to. Listen to your gut. Listen to your gut a whole bunch. Enjoy your time. You'll never be that young. So if there's a party you are thinking of going to, but you're like, oh, I have to study for an AP exam, That AP exam is always going to be there. That party is not. Like, like, oh, like I want to go out to the movies, but I have, SATs coming up. Your SATs are going to be there. You can take your SATs 2, 3 times. That movie or that, instance or that outing, that's fleeting, like don't focus so much on your studies. Like I feel as though high school students today are like, you have to be in this extracurricular, you have to be doing these APs, you have to be doing X, Y, and Z, like to make sure that you get into a good college, to make sure that you have a good life. Like, don't worry about that. That's going to be there. That's always going to be there. You're going to have the time to figure that out. That's what college is for. And if you don't go to college, that's what your life is for. Like, that's what life is for, to figure all that stuff out. Be a high school student. Just be an adult. Don't try to rush up. Don't try to, don't be an adult. Don't be an adult. Be a high school student. Be a teenager. Don't try and be an adult. Don't try and grow up too fast. Live in your moment and live in this moment, because this is as young as you're ever going to be. This is as most fun as you're ever going to be. And ultimately, this is the only time where you're going to be around all those people at the same time. Like once you guys go off to different colleges and start to flourish, you'll be in LA and your best friend could be in New York. You'll be in LA, your best friend could be in DC. So really enjoy your time there. And then lastly, like find your people and stick with your people. It's high school. It could be very cliquey. It could be very, you're not pretty enough, or you're not athletic enough, or you're not this enough. Find those people who are going to say, I don't care what you are, you as a person is enough. You are enough. And that's all you ever have to be, is yourself, to be enough. Because that's going to do wonders for both your psyche and your mental health. It's going to do wonders for your confidence. And those are the people that when you are down in the ninth inning and all bases are loaded and you are the person at bat, they're going to be the one on first, second, or third base encouraging you, saying to take a breath, to relax, and that they know you can do this, because it was never a doubt in their minds that you couldn't. Find your people, listen to your gut, and enjoy your time in high school. And for those who are struggling with their sexuality, or struggling with bullying, or struggling with just any type of identity crisis or family crisis, it gets better. And I am living, breathing proof that it gets better. Bide your time, figure out what you want to do, and just take that leap of faith and do it, because it gets better. I'm coming to you as someone who was suspended in middle school so many times that he barely passed 6th grade. I'm coming to you as someone who in freshman year had a 2.5 GPA. Like, I'm coming to you as someone who does not like authority in his every nature and fiber and being. But it does get better. And as soon as you find a community, it's going to get exponentially better. Like, so it does get better. I keep saying that, but it really does. Like, once you get out of that high school mentality, people do not care. People do not care. Like, you'll meet people, and you'll be like, oh, they just do not care. Like, they do. It does not matter in the real world. Like, it does in a political sense, and with people who are very closed-minded, but you're going to meet a lot of open-minded people, and they will not care if you're XYZ, if you're from XYZ, or if you talk XYZ, or if you act XYZ way. They're going to love you and cherish you because you are a human being and you are worthy of being on this planet, just because you are here, and know that there are people out there who are going through the same things, who are thinking about the same things, and that you're not alone, and that those people are going to be communities later on in life.
Preach.
So
all of that.
That's what I would say. That's what I would say. I know that was like long and winded, but I have nieces and nephews, and I have younger cousins that I like guide all the time, and they ask me to do things, and I always just tell them, like, you're in high school, like, just don't even think about it. Like, you're gonna look back 10 years later and just be like, yeah, that was high school. Like, I'm so far beyond that. I'm so far past that. So just like, yeah, don't let it get to you. Keep your head up high.
We're kind of coming away from high school, now focusing on adult Victorious. Tell me 3 self-care practices that you do to help to center and regulate yourself now?
The first thing I do is I leave work at work. Um, if I leave, like, I don't take work home with me.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if I have 8 hours to do everything and I'll get everything done in 8 hours and my bosses are like, yeah, we need this done by tomorrow. Okay, well, it'll be done by tomorrow, but I'm not taking this home. Like, making sure you have a good work-life balance, because as an adult, you're thinking about like so many things. And one of those things you're thinking about is like, oh, I have to get this done for my boss so I don't get fired, so I can like have a job so I can still do this. Like, don't take work home. Like, I don't do that. Like, once I get home, it's like TV, bed, I'm relaxing. That's like the first thing I do.
Mm-hmm.
The second thing I do is I eat. When I have a craving, or when I have, if I'm feeling down and I'm like, well, maybe I shouldn't take the calories or XYZ, like, no, eat. Eating is one of like my cornerstones of my personality. It's like, everyone knows I can go to eat. Like, everyone knows, like, I'm always down to eat. Like, I'm always down to get food, always down to do something like that. So that's like very therapeutic to me. And then lastly, like, keeping a clean house and making sure that your house is your peace. There's so many things that you cannot control once you get past your door. And then there's so many things that you can't control outside, that coming home to a place where that you have, your bathroom is clean, or that, you can walk into your apartment or your house and your favorite scent is going to walk right through your nose. Like, that stuff is comforting. And to have a home and have an apartment or a home or a house or whatever you're living in to be your peace is going to permeate through every single part of your adult life, because there are times where you are going to be working 12, 15 hours in a day and coming home to the sheets that you love, your favorite pair of sweatpants, your favorite cotton soft t-shirt, the favorite shampoo that you have in your room, or the favorite TV that you have. Like, invest in your home so that your home can be your peace. Because when I come home and I see that my bed is made, or I know that, oh, I saved like XYZ that I cooked from last night, it's in the fridge, I'm going to have that for dinner and I don't have to cook or things like that. Like, having your home be your peace and having your home be like this very much this comfort level for you is like one of like my foundation of self-care. Like, if my home is not in order, I won't be in order.
Kayla's episode, I think she was episode 9. We're just referring back to all these amazing episodes. One thing that she said, as that's kind of like her mantra and something that she teaches, because she's a yoga instructor. She always says, protect your peace.
Yes.
It's like exactly what you're talking about.
Yes.
Exactly.
Protect your peace. There's a lot of things that you cannot control, but you can always control your peace, and how you find that is always up to you.
Yeah. Wow. That was amazing. I love doing this. I feel like there's so many students that I'm so looking forward to knowing, what they're doing and where they are and what's going on in their minds. Cause as a teacher, you see your kids maybe for 4 years, they graduate. Sometimes you never see them again. You never hear from them again. And I've been very fortunate to make really great connections with really great people, recognizing, their value early on in their lives, and to have this vested interest in like seeing where they're going. And that's sort of the beauty of this podcast, is now not only do we have to get to have these conversations, but I get to record it and share it with everybody, because they're really valuable. The insights and the lessons are really, really super valuable. So I thank you, Victorious Collymore-Bey, for joining me today, and for sharing so much stuff. I mean, your life has been all sorts of things, challenging and glorious and successful, and all of these things kind of mixed up into one. And I really appreciate you kind of opening out your heart and sharing it with everybody, because I think there are a lot of kids who need to hear this. They need to know that, that they are going to be okay. And it's going to take some time. Maybe not feel so good right now, but that you're right. It does get better, and it will get better.
It will. And I just want to say thank you to you as this amazing person in shining light who just came in and just saw me for the person I didn't know I can become. And I feel as though like you have this this foresight to people and the foresight to the students who come into your class, who you can see does the work, who wants to do the work and comes back every day a bit better because they are invested in what they're doing. And I just like, I always think back to time and in Spring Valley High School, and the only thing I can always remember is being in that dance studio and being in those shows. And I go back to rocking, and everyone's just like, oh, like Victor, like I know you because of XYZ, or I know you because of this. And truly, like I always say this, like I would not be here without the people in my life who have guided me and who have, lent me a hand. And I want to say, like, the reason I even went to college and the reason why I'm like doing so well is because you gave me the tools to say, Victor, you can't be the menace to society that you always were before. You have a purpose and you have, something to work towards and something that you want to be in good standing to do. And I didn't get that before. And other teachers didn't give that to me. And you were the person to give that to me very early on. And I really have to say thank you, because I wouldn't be in New York City and Manhattan graduating with my master's degree if it wasn't for you being such a great and amazing educator, person. I just have so much love for you. And I just hope you know that, like, there's nothing that I can't do without you in mind, without me thinking about you. So I just want to say thank you. And I want to just let you know that, like, I'm very appreciative of everything that you do and everything that you have done for me, and just the conversations that we can have now and outside of this. So I just want to say thank you, Tara, because you really are a blessing. And this world is so much brighter because you choose to be an amazing person and you choose love over everything else. So thank you.
Well, it doesn't really get much better than that. So I'm gonna like pause it there. So thank you so much, Victor. You are a shining light, and I'm looking forward to the next 25 years to see the incredible things that you're going to do, because we will stay connected. That's just Tune in next week for a new episode 16 of Change for the Better, the Power of Arts in Education.